You ain't know now, you know now. Still at the scrub J's with a toothbrush.
Thank you.
Still playing my old shit. But yo, it's like the police asking us questions.
I like saying worse. Like that's my favorite part of that song. Worse.
Worse.
How y'all doing today? It's so amazing. Me and my friend saw clouds come over the city just about 20 minutes ago, and it's so amazing how reality and perspective shift right away. And it went from a very, 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 very sunny day, and I didn't have glasses. I never did have glasses. My eyes are like mad sensitive, so it went from that to a torrential downpour, maybe a cancellation of a game. Just sit with that. Cool. So my name is Jerald Cooper, and I was actually going to do this. I was going to do like who I am later, but I come from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I have about, the Natty. Shout out to the Natty. Anybody here from the Natty, watch out for them. I come from about 120 years of history in the city of Cincinnati, from my great aunts and grandmothers coming up from Georgia, the state of Georgia, during the sharecropping time, and coming north for school, which was church, right? Because they couldn't go to real school, and so I developed a curious nature for everything, and I'm that too. My 2-year-old godson was running around a little earlier, like I am him now. I just want to know those questions. I want to know. I feel like our lives are infinite, and some people say that, but I don't know if y'all really like a 90-year-old on this earth is a young soul. I'm just letting y'all know who I am real quick. So we're gonna do this thing where I'm gonna talk about something I created. We're gonna go on a journey really quick, and there's gonna be some multimedias here. So if you sense some technical difficulties, send your vibes towards me so we can get through those. And I'm gonna start with this vibe that I really love. I'm gonna slide it on over, and I wanna see who knows about this first word, the law of Dharma. Does anybody in here know what that word is? Dharma, what it means? None of y'all, Floyd, say something. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't want to push y'all. So this is purpose, y'all. This word means purpose, and so. Does anybody out here have a direct purpose that you could yell out, like, real quick? All right, cool. Anybody else? Motivating. All right, cool. So, really, and is anybody here, lack sort of void of purpose sometimes, like, with individually, some days, or, like, in totality? All right, cool. There's 2 people. So, this is good. So I need everybody to state their purpose now, and it don't have to be a word. Y'all could just keep talking. It doesn't have to be one word, but if people can state their purpose, I'm gonna state my purpose real quick. It's a big part of what we're gonna talk about. So on the count of 3, I need y'all, even you, young brother, to state what your purpose is on this earth. Empowering people to empower others. Vibes. All right, cool. So, you know what? One of the things that I learned is the hate on purpose, right? Like people the hate on this block towards what our purpose is, and then why we can't activate that every day, right? So it's what I know I'm here for, and then who the stuff back here, who brought me here, how did I get, all this stuff. And then you got your purpose, but why are you not living that every day? And there's somewhere in between there is the hate on purpose. And a lot of the hate is not external, is it? Because people don't know what you're going to do when you wake up in the morning. That's not what people are thinking about, right? So they can't beat you to the breakfast because they don't know what time you're going to get up. So that hate in the middle, we're going to touch on that a little bit because it's usually internal, isn't it? So we're saying that this being put the purpose in us, and we be yelling about how strong this being is, and then y'all just yelled out y'all purpose, some long form, short form, and then there's a little bit of hate here, which is like doubt, self-doubt, all of these things that we do it, and then there's the purpose living, and we gotta eliminate that hate, y'all. We can't be hating on purpose. And so one of the things that I did when I left Cincinnati is I was just purpose driven. Purpose is tied to faith. Purpose is a very omni thought, right? So my sister who said teaching. Did you say teaching? Somebody say teaching? All right, so in order to teach, right, there's so many things that go around that, right? Education, preparedness. What type of education, right? You gotta get student loans paid for. You gotta pay for student loans. You have to have kids and people in your school who are ready to take and digest the knowledge. And we see that that's a difficulty in education right now for some underrepresented folks, black and brown folks. And so this thought that purpose is omni is where I'm gonna be at, because and when I say omni, y'all know what I'm vibing on, like everything. So if you want to put on a show, you want to be a playwright, you can't just you could just go out in the park and do that. But how are people going to know about your play? You have to be just as good at the things surrounding your purpose as you are with your purpose. And when I say that purpose is omni, that means you got to be good at everything. This is like when my brother David asked me to come here and talk about, and I saw sort of the creative control. And I thought about my purpose-driven life, and I thought about my creative friends. And I thought, well, what do I think that they need to hear, and what's the vibe that they need to hear? So this next slide is gonna crack y'all up. Oh, it was already there the whole time? Yeah. Oh, okay. So y'all cracking up. All right, good. So isn't that a provocative statement? What was y'all thinking? What were y'all thinking when y'all saw that? Anybody? Okay. Anyway, any vibe? Anybody have any thought, brother? Yeah, right here. Business folk, most creative. Okay, so they're omni as well, sister. That's exactly that. So yes, y'all a unit. So anybody else vibe? So that is actually the key. Is like why is there a creative block for most creatives? And I'm talking in general, so don't attack me when it comes to business. But when in business, you don't see them having no blocks. They literally are going and buying the most art right now. Right? They're the bottom line and the base of the actual industry. And then they create the industry. And that's where I'm gonna go right today, y'all, is the systems that we live in, right? And Chris Christie, a couple of years ago, I don't know if y'all heard about the B Corporation legislation. Anybody? Right, so the only white guy in here raised his hand, like, yeah, I know about it. A bit ironic. So it's a brilliant actual legislation, and the systems that are built within our chambers guide us. So you have and when I speak business and the systems in business, I'm talking about LLCs, S corps, right? Social enterprises, all of these systems. So we got S corps, corporations, sole proprietors, which is the more popular one, tied to LLC. 501(c), and there's a bunch of them. And so I set up a social enterprise, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And you see how that aligns to our purpose? It don't align to the hate, but it aligns to the exact purpose and what we're going to talk about here. But I'm going to take y'all on the journey of the most creative people real quick. Y'all ain't seen this slide yet. All right, so does anybody know who this white guy is? Who's Hemingway? Nah, y'all tripping. So this is Chris Blackwell. Does anybody know who Chris Blackwell is? Has anybody heard Bob Marley? Nobody said yeah, man. So he owns Bob Marley's music. I went to the U.S. Open the other day to see Serena, and that's a picture of it being half full. She ended up getting beat in 3 sets by this girl who served a mean ace. And I took the picture. You know who owns it? Instagram. Y'all love Kanye. Y'all know who owned the base of his music? This old guy right here. No shade, Guru. Isn't that ironic? How creative are we really? You know what I'm saying? When these people, several times have created a system to allow our arts to come out, right? A lot of times it's arts with photography, music, creation, concerts, the visuals. They've sort of given us a way to go, but why can't we create that way? And I know the adage is like, well, he the businessman, she the accountant. But when we talked about purpose being omni, doesn't that mean that you need to know a little bit about it all? So I've sat with this for so long. So you got systems, you got sole proprietorships, and we got why. So we already talked about the haters, and we talked about the impact. And this is one thing. I was talking to Oracle 2 days ago. Y'all know Oracle, the systems company. And they were like, we were talking about all the things that we were doing in the community, and they kept saying, what's the impact? What's the impact? So I said, it was a bit ironic. So I said, oh man, that's true. Like how much are we affecting what our purpose is? So sister right here might be like, look, my goal is to teach at a school and impact one student, so that one student could go on and impact other students. Another person might say, I want to develop a high school so I can impact 800 students a year. When we talk about our purpose, what is our impact and our purpose? And it doesn't have to be grandiose. I really truly believe in like one person thing. I love that narrative. And so what I decided to do was, it was a vibe off of this guy named Young Guru. Is everybody familiar with Young Guru? And I wouldn't judge you sort of either way, but cool. So I'm gonna bring this home for y'all. So you've heard this guy's music. And Guru records and makes it like sound good. So not necessarily produce it. So Kanye will come in and produce it. Guru will be sitting there recording Jay, and then Guru would sort of take the end result, and then he would make it palatable for us in audio versions. And so I was managing Guru. I noticed that he was going out and talking a lot, and we were connecting to you at an astounding rate. One of the brothers was in the green room, were talking about teachers. And we know teachers are separate from like smart people. We know that, right? Like there's very intelligent people. There's like a bunch of like sort of categories, and then there's a teacher. And a teacher is like, that is just, you have to make your stuff palatable, relative. You have to sort of be patient, all of these things. So it's separate. This brother's a teacher. Right? He comes from a line of teachers. So when he's speaking about things, you get it. And if you don't get it, he gives you that energy that you can raise your hand and get it. And so I'm vibing with this guy, and I say, I manage him, and he's also a teacher. And we just happen to be in the era of the engineer. And let me just vibe y'all on era of the engineer. Sisters has a digital device here. Sister has a digital device here, their cameras. We all have digital devices in our phones. All of our phones compute. And so we're all into technology right now. Like, and if you don't have it, one of the things that, my friends that go off the grid and on the grid, you're affected by technology. Right? Literally, my boy CJ, he literally is walking around. I'm not connected. I'm on my laptop. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not using a cell phone. Like, yeah, like that's just, you know what I mean? That's the same vibe. And y'all silly. And so I noticed that maybe we could connect I'm gonna keep it going on y'all, cause this is gonna be this next thing is here. So the hardest research you'll ever do is on Google. That was a joke. So let's talk about social enterprise, because that's why we're here. So a social enterprise is an organization that advises commercial strategies to maximize improvements in human and environmental well-being. I don't really, the last part, they ain't really relevant. So again, if y'all want to know what a social enterprise is, look it up. Now Google has this analytic where you search it, and it has a pretty solid Wikipedia definition there. But let's talk about social enterprise. What if I could put a black scientist on television, make profit off of it, right? Like they pay us a talent fee, but then a kid about this young brother's age right here sees it and be like, oh, I could be an audio engineer? Or like the mother, like, who is this black man on the television? He's an audio engineer. Hey, Ronnie, you should be an audio engineer, right? Media's led by perception, isn't it? Right? So if we saw a bunch of audio engineers, it wouldn't seem so ornery. And so this is all going through my head as I'm managing Guru and having some great opportunities. Let's talk about the opportunities that I've had real quick, okay, y'all? Give me 1 second. This is the technical joint right here. So we are going to boom. Oh, it's right here. All right, cool. So this is one of the vibes that that y'all saw. Some of y'all saw, especially if y'all was watching the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know what I'm saying? Bring it back home. And I'm gonna make sure this audio's vibing.
This Labor Day, the wait is
Of
over.
course there's an ad.
Introducing Magnolia Home by Joanna Gaines. Available in stores now.
I'm an audio engineer, turned tech conference speaker, turned teacher. So I use a lot of devices to help me stay on top of it all. AT&T keeps me connected to my sessions, conferences, and lectures so I don't miss a beat. This is my network.
So that's a commercial. We wasn't trying to sell no cell phones. We're not in that business. We literally, let me pause this real quick. All right, cool. That's good. Sound man, you're a genius. So we weren't actually trying to sell cell phones. We wanted to go and start implanting Guru in some very sort of perception-driven sort of opportunities. We saw that audio engineer was going home. So for those of you who don't know about the music production stuff, because I came from outside of it, you have the studio that people used to go to is now at the crib, and the studio is now the laptop, and that's a shift, right? It's obviously a shift in recording and in the world, and so a bunch of studios closed, and then the more savvier technical people started to win, right? So Guru will take his production from Jay, any big productions, and he'll go home, and then or for Alicia Keys, and then he'll go back to a studio to reference the track. Right? So just to hear how it sounds on real speakers and not computer speakers, not headphones or whatnot. And so that means that if people had the home studio in their home, and this is all my thought process of being a manager of Guru, if people had their home studios at home, then they would want to know how to record themselves. Right? Artists would want to know how to record themselves. They would want to do that process. They would also it would be this sort of holistic sort of vibe on music production, and I saw that coming from 4 years out. So I was like, all right, well, we got to start to educate the artist, right? And this is my wall breaking down, because I know y'all was laughing at that bio, like, what's he talking about? So some of the walls that y'all live in are the walls in in the 4-family or 2-family houses, them hollow walls. Those are not real walls. Those just got there. If you want to get a degree in public relations, public relations became a degree in 1982. That's not real, you know what I mean? You could just go and learn public relations at a library, get that degree, and then, make your connections. Public relations will tell you about that. And, you'll get in, but that's not a real wall to why you can't be a publicist. It was just made up. So, and I speak about that 2-family house a lot, because you got artists, producers, and audio engineers in the music making process, and now guess what they're all becoming? Just one. So then let's keep going that journey. So here I am, managing Guru, seeing that it's becoming one. One is Omni. Omni is one. So it's becoming one. And so I'm thinking like everybody's gonna want to know how to mix and do all their records, and everybody is gonna want to be recording their records. They're gonna think that everybody's gonna think they Jay-Z or whatever. So I saw $42 billion in the music industry right now, y'all. So I'm like, ooh, we got a nice pot. In education, we got a nice pot. But then we brought it all the way over here and said, oh no, we could speak to more people and we can empower more people. Our purpose got bigger. And so that's where these deals came from. A brother asked me, well, I want to know how you connect through to the deals. It's, you're sort of like, in your purpose, you're putting people onto your purpose that might be in the medias, that might be in other things. They, data and research, and you're understanding it. You're able to communicate that to them, and then it just makes some more sense. So I'm gonna share with y'all another commercial that just dropped. Y'all probably haven't seen this yet, but here it goes. Sound man. Oh, I want to play that. Yeah.
Everything informs my music. What I did was take the data from Q60 and translated that into sound.
Guru on the beat, by the way.
I drove a car, I took its data, and I made music. And this is the music I made. Introducing the all-new Q60. Infinity, empower the drive.
Isn't that cool? Thank you. I appreciate that. And so that right there is social impact driven, isn't it? Right? So if we go back here and we blow this back up, that's what it is. It's like, how can I go and connect through, maybe a profitable chain.
My brother's garage, my dad.
Maybe a profitable chain to get a message out of someone connecting their digital experience or creating music, right? From a computer's, computer, that just automatically blows your mind. And then take that into a joint and then present it to a company and be like, present it half-baked, so they can't say no off the bat. They just gotta, so work with it. And then all of a sudden, an ad campaign comes out of it. Our social impact areas are large because we're able to, this week, Ray-Ban sunglasses, all y'all know Ray-Ban, part of our teaching stuff, I want to do the cool teaching. I'm not going to have no boring, we don't need that boring. I want to do some cool connecting. And Guru wants to do that too. And so, we were teaching about teaching kids how to connect through and understand their live performance because Guru also supports Jay-Z and Alicia Keys for their live performances, right? And so did Ray-Ban, right? So here we are 2 days ago. I wake up in the morning, it's like Thursday. And I clicked through to Guru's Facebook. I check it out, and Ray-Ban done posted, yo, Young Guru in the building. He helped us with a joint. And then on their Instagram, it was Young Guru. Now, when y'all see that, it's just like it seems almost like an advertisement. But blowing up a popular narrative, a brother who's not scared to share knowledge, like blowing that type of an individual up is a very powerful thing, right? Utilizing for-profit arms to blow your community up is not a bad thing, right? There's a narrative around nonprofit that sounds weird. It's nonprofit, right? In a profit-driven world. However you feel about money, what is your impact narrative? Because if you want to reach 1 million kids, you got to heighten your impact. You might have to mess with Coca-Cola, right? And you might not want no soft drinks at the event. Right? But you got to really ask yourself what the impact is. So without further ado, and I'm gonna try this, but I got my boy Young Guru coming in from around the way, and I know I got to stop the sound on this. So I'll do that, and then I will. Let's see how we do this little Skype thing. Let's blow this up over here on my screen. Boom. And then drag you over, Guru. Y'all say what up to Guru. Y'all
What's going on, everybody?
So Guru is tuning in. Can you hear me, Guru?
The audio is really bad, but I'll try to make sure I make it out.
All right, cool. But you can hear me say 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. So y'all don't worry about my friends over there and all of that. But Goo, thanks for joining us. Ohio against the world as always. Talk to the folk about your journey within this, man. I like to hear your perspective on your journey from being in the studio 100% of the time to going out and doing, so understanding the passion, purpose, and going about that. I just want you to speak on that for a little bit.
You might have to stop me because it's a long journey, but I will say this, that my purpose or when I first started out, I just wanted to break a barrier. I wanted to sort of get respected in the audio engineering world. I came from a world of making hip hop music really early, and a lot of the older engineers didn't respect what we were doing. So I made it a point to say, my purpose is to learn so I can move that person out of the way. And also just to represent my genre of music and have it be respected on the same level as sort of country music or jazz or anything else, to show that hip hop was a real genre of music. So, that was my original reason for why I would study so much or why I would practice so much, because I wanted to be the best at what I was trying to do. It wasn't really about trying to obtain a certain amount of money or fame or anything like that. It was really about me trying to master a craft that sort of had been, but wasn't specifically written for me, meaning that I wanted to take my chance to put my fingerprint on hip hop production and specifically the art of mixing. I was really lucky in the fact that the moves that I made or the decisions that I made all focused towards that one thing at a specific time. Like I went to Howard University. I was there in 1992. So I was there sort of before Bad Boy started. And when Puff started Bad Boy, it basically gave us an outlet or an in to the industry. So for me, that was my opportunity. I worked with Chucky Thompson, who did a lot of Mary J. Blige work, like Mary's second album, the whole First Faith album, working with Notorious B.I.G., God Bless the Dead. Things of all that nature came through Chucky Thompson. And then staying on the topic of sort of like understanding my purpose, I felt like, I was always hitting certain plateaus in terms of not being able to mix records or not getting enough work because I didn't live in New York City. So my decision to get up from Washington, D.C. and to move to New Jersey so I could go to New York every day was, again, me analyzing and trying to follow my purpose. I did that the very first year that I was there. I worked on the Mad Rapper album, which was a compilation album that sort of had all the hot MCs from New York, from 50 Cent to Puff Daddy to Busta Rhymes, whoever you named, they were on that album. It was a year after that I hooked up with Jay and the whole long story of Rockefeller and all the stuff that we did there. That was, sort of me saying to myself, I'm going to put the best foot forward for somebody who showed me love. So that's really what my concentration was to organize a whole crew and to go on that long journey. But of course, as with anything in life, things happen, not because you did something wrong or right, but the music industry swiftly changed when MP3s came out. As much as technology gives us the ability to do anything we want from home, it also killed the music industry because you used to have to pay for a studio, go into a very specific place, and all those things now are being replaced by the computer. I say that to say the music industry as I knew it completely dropped out. And it sort of took a reinvention of myself and my direction or even my goal, because the thing that I had sought my whole life wasn't really there anymore. So I ended up looking at all of the talents that I had and said, okay, I can do this, I can do that. Which directions do I want to go in? And I sort of gravitated towards DJing because that was something that I love. That was something that was instilled in me. If you do something that you love, it's not really a job. It doesn't feel like work every day. It's like the key to happiness is figuring out what you would do every day if you didn't have to worry about money, right? If you were a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it was, what would you wake up and do every day, right? Once you can answer that question, now figure out how to get paid for that specific thing. I don't care if that's talking on the phone. I don't care if that's singing, if that's dancing, if that's art, if it's business, whatever it is, find a thing you love and then figure out how to get paid from that thing, and it won't feel like work. But to be more specific into your question, that's where the journey really for me got exciting, was in the reinvention, because now I'm looking at the world from a different scope, or should I say from different angles. And one of the biggest blessings in my life was in 2010 when I started DJing for Jay-Z again on the road. I ran into Jerald. And when my focus was, hey, I'm going to do these sessions, I'm going to mix records, the same thing I have been doing for the past 15 years. I'm going to DJ these clubs. Jerald had this way, or this ability to see bigger than my own vision for myself. So it was me being receptive to somebody else saying, look, yeah, you do all of these things great and you sort of mastered this, but what about this? Let's go out and let's attempt this, which then just focused me in a whole new direction. So sometimes it takes somebody looking at you from the outside and seeing stuff that you don't even necessarily see in yourself. So, for me, and I'm not just saying that because Jerald's there, that's actually what happened. It's a big part of the story, or should I say a big part of my refocus. And then that just opened the world to so many different things. It's like, hey, you like to speak, or just me giving people tips. People will say, you need to record that and put that on YouTube, and you need to put that out to people, because I noticed the natural ability that I have to say, okay, I know all these technical things, but I have a way of teaching because my whole family are teachers, breaking down these concepts to students or just to normal people, where sometimes we get caught up in language. And that's another thing. I don't want language to hold people up. If you're reading a contract, if you're reading an instruction manual, anything, take the time to just not be scared of the language. If it's a big word, look it up. We have all the tools in the world. You shouldn't be ashamed to say, hey, I don't know what that means, or I don't know that. That's the way that I learn, and that gets you to your goal a lot faster. So for me, it was just that. It was opening my mind to all these different things. And then the world opened up. It was like going from one thing to the next, and they would just keep opening up more doors. That, and then just having the courage to venture into places that may be foreign to you, things that you may have never done before. And having the courage to say, yeah, I can try this, I can do this, but with a serious amount of study, or with a serious amount of, should I say, attack, the way that you go after it. So for me, that's the biggest part of the journey that I'm on now, is just to empower people, and especially younger people, to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. Because the way that the world is changing, the way that business is changing, to the degree that my generation was lucky enough to still be a part of, hey, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to study this thing for 4 years, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to get a job working in some company that probably my parents or someone in my family worked at, and I'm going to move up, and I'm going to start on this and then move up to management and then higher management, depending on how good I am. That was the dream. That was the American dream. Sadly to say, that's not the case anymore. The case now is that a lot of people are graduating from college and coming back to no job. So you have to create your own job. So this is why this is so important, empowering your own ideas and thinking outside of the box. There's so many things that you can now create because you have the tools and the access to do it that we didn't have. That, and then just the making of new industries. You have to have that foresight for. So for me, that's what this is all about. That's what Era of the Engineer is about. Is about training people or exposing people to the fact that everything has been designed, everything has been engineered. And once you see how something is built, you can also see a different way of building it, and building it your own way, and making some things better or worse. One of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs is when they tried to bring him research on the iPod before he brought it out. And he threw the research back in people's face. and was like, why are you showing me research on something that they've never seen before? He's introducing something new to the people. That's the whole point of it. So don't always rely on the old scheme or the old way. Or if you ask someone a question as to why you do something or why it should be done this way, and they say, well, this is the way it's always been done, then they don't really know the answer. And go and do it your way. Test it out. Try to do it your way. That's the biggest part of my journey, is that I really realize that I can sort of do whatever I want. And I'm not saying that from a conceited point. I'm saying that from an empowering point, from a point that nothing under the sun hasn't been designed. So it's a thing of understanding the power of engineering.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Give him a round of applause, man. That's all we needed. That's all we needed. I appreciate you on that, fam. So look, I appreciate you in front of everybody. I love you. I'm excited about the journey as well. My mother's sitting out here. She's excited. Floyd's out here too, Guru.
That's what's up.
And so I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Later, bro. That's crazy. That never gets old. So I'll wrap up here, and then we can take questions and vibe however. So you heard the journey in 2010. We can skip through to 2013, and I need to really find a vibe for Guru and myself to empower ourselves. And I started to go like, cause I'm thinking like, yo, let's go to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just walk around Harvard. I put this crazy intention out, and I do it all the time, where I'll just put an intention out, like, we need an educational director. You know what I'm saying? And I met this kid. We let's talk. Let's talk, cause you gonna vibe with me here. I met this kid at MIT, cause I'm like, oh, let's get him at MIT. I met a kid, and he was like from Detroit, and he shared our passion. And so he helped me put together, he put me on the social enterprise, helped me put it on. So let me tell y'all about what Era of the Engineer really is. We just signed a movie deal with Warner Brothers Films to only make empowerment-driven films, short form, television. It's gonna be a television show about a young guru who's like just a 16-year-old kid. He's the nerdiest kid at school, but he's cool. Like nobody messes with him. Because there's not a narrative that says you gotta be smart and you gotta get bullied around. I don't know, I get that happens, but that ain't the case all the time. We're gonna do a film. It's gonna come out like 2017, 18, into 17, 18, called The Millennials. Yeah, so we working on that with Greg Silverman, the president of Warner Brothers Films. So that's our media division, and we working on a bunch of stuff. How things are made. We're gonna have some kids go with Rihanna behind stage on her tour and help her set up her AV. Right? Because like kids don't need to go. Y'all know y'all want to take the kids to the woods, or they need to know what they love. We need to support them on what they love. And so we have a media arm. We have an education arm. We've built some curriculums out based around music and music, how music connects to technology. So maybe mathematic problems and all this curriculum, and it's doing beautiful. We've also created a curriculum over at the University of Southern California, which is the first music production degree ever, which is pretty odd. And we want to continue to do that. We're also doing a study called Who Are They Anyway? It's a 20 or 30 year retrospect study of what the hell we were doing on computers 20 years ago and 30 years ago. And we want to create a nepotist chamber. So the digital divide study did a little bit, but me and Guru think that these kids was on Fruity Loops. We think they were making beats. We think that you were doing something creative on there. We also think African-American women are the most educated minorities in North America right now. We're gonna say that African-American and brown males were on the computer 10 times more than them. But they were doing something in the arts, right? I mean, we got beat makers in here and our DJ and all this stuff. And so can you imagine how empowering that's gonna be? Like, bro, you already been technical. We're finding that a lot of those guys a lot of the old producers who don't make it, get into technical jobs anyway. Cable guys, IT, y'all know all about it because they had been on the computers. But there's never been a national study nor a curriculum built around chambering that and holding on to that and passing that to folks or developing that. And so our education arm is all about curriculum that's led by studies and not curriculum that's just curriculum because you at school. We also have a philanthropy arm that has the scholarships and grants, and it's just amazing. We've been putting kids in South Africa through school for a grip. Sort of like it's the first person who came up and was like, "Yo, we could hook up on a scholarship," and I was like, "Yeah." So we're looking to roll that back here in the States. One of my friends, D. Robinson, who was the leading African American airport concession, leading African American female concession person in the United States. So it means she has a bunch of restaurants and stuff in airports. I told her, I said, I want to have a grant where kids who don't want to go right to school after high school or right to work after college can have a year, do a social project, right? Document, because we're already photo documenting our stuff, right? Snapchat, Instagram, we're already doing that. So you could do it on there. But it has to be purpose-driven. I want to give them a grant for that year. And she worked about 40 M's, and she said, I want to write the check. My daughter went to, where did the Obama's kids go to after high school? Somewhere in the DR, and did some agriculture, and just, vibed out and sort of figured out their dharma, their purpose. So we're doing that. We have a cultural engagement vibe, too. So y'all be going to, like, when you go to a tech event, it feels like a tech event, don't it? Like, we don't want to do that. Like, we're developing events that don't feel like that, where you could go dance and vibe and understand, because we're saying that everything is engineered. So no matter what field you're in, you got to learn something about technology. And so we're vibing there. And then you know what? The whole of those are era of the engineer, right? And so that's our social enterprise. So to take a step further, and then I'll take some questions. When we engage with a brand or a brand engages with us, we can go to 4 or 5 vibes on them, right? So, and how we looking on time, y'all? 10 minutes? So we go ahead. So when we go to a brand, a lot of talent. So my boy, I didn't tell you about Kevin Hart, like being my homeboy from like time, and everybody who knows me like knows that I was maybe the first person that maybe introduced him to Kevin Hart, other than that really shitty movie Soul Plane. So right after that, me and Kevin connected on sneakers, and Michael B. Jordan at the same time. And they're friends that you would see me in Cincinnati with or see me in New York with, and they weren't who they are now, so it's not even, it wasn't nothing. Michael actually was on the wire, and people were sort of starstruck when they see him 7 years ago, but now obviously it's a new day. And so I was stepping back like, how do I, like Kevin right now, you see Kevin running, right? Y'all see Kevin running, like, right? That's social enterprise, right? Because he's promoting healthy living. That's a whole nother department of the check joint, right? That's foundation money, right? So right now, me and Guru can go to a general marketing fund. We can go to a multicultural marketing fund. We can go to a foundation marketing fund. So when we talk about bigger corporations like AT&T, who we work with, we can go to their big folks, right? We can go to government agencies, right, for grants, right? And then we can take in private money. That's 5 different buckets of where. So that speaks towards your question of like, how are y'all going, right? We don't have to tell the general marketing people that we're out here for that social enterprise. We don't. Like, they are already. I don't know if y'all noticed, but technology companies are looking for minorities, the very minorities, not just the stiff type, but the creative type. I know y'all see it, to connect this narrative so that we can buy more stuff. Right? Not get smarter. And so what we do is we work with the foundations, and we say, what kind of grants y'all got set up for these kids? What type of things, right? My mother, the church that my grandmother and them came to was a 100-year-old church, and like we're putting a computer lab down there, and y'all know it's gonna be AT&T money, right? But in order to, and you could do anything. A lot of the narratives that we're finding is that kids are teaching adults about technology. Like, who would have thought that would happen where the kid's the teacher at the front of the class, right? But we did hear the scripture. So, as I conclude, I'm filled up with purpose. I haven't met a sort of a challenge I couldn't beat. And somehow the top end, my high level of curiosity, the humble ability. A lot of people say because of your vision that you might be cocky, but you know how humble it is to take a step where you've never been. So here we are. Me and Guru are raising $25 million because our social enterprise has been valued there. We've been working with Hillary, not because it's Hillary, but because she's going to be in the White House on developing curriculums at the high level, because I want my impact to be huge. I want these studies because we're not just going to do one, I want them to sort of wrap themselves around our narratives. I want our movies and the way we visualize ourselves to be seen differently. And seeing it more empowered, not just differently, because that can go any way, but more empowered. So that when we eat healthy, people are like, y'all eating healthy. Like let's eat healthy. And then we don't have to go to healthy eating events. We can actually just go to events that already are catering towards our vibe and our well-being and our mind. Or, when it comes to this music and technology thing, that our brothers and sisters can be empowered to not just be a producer, but look at all of the channels of ways that one could be in the music industry. My name is Jerald Cooper, and I appreciate y'all for letting me speak my mind.